Empire. Welcome to the Football Jones podcast. I am Mike Jones. Read me at usatoday.com. Follow me on Twitter at @ByMikeJones, Instagram at @ByMikeJones. Midweek episode, and the big story is that the NFL has set up an individual workout for Colin Kaepernick, and all 32 teams have been invited. This is probably the most unexpected and mind-bending thing to come out of the NFL so far this season, and it's been a crazy season, but we're going to tackle that. I've got Lorenzo Reyes from USA Today Sports, my colleague there. We are going to tackle all the questions that come from this and what we can expect from this opportunity for Colin Kaepernick and what it means for him right now. All right, and now I'm joined with my dude Lorenzo Reyes from USA Today Sports, guy who covers the league, just, can do it all, news, features, whatever. Really sharp guy, well connected. If you haven't seen some of his stuff, his one-on-ones with Dak Prescott the last couple weeks, Dak really opened up to him. Lorenzo knows how to work a locker room. And I wanted to have you on because this Kaepernick thing, you were up, covered the introduction to the Jay-Z thing. You've been following the Kaepernick thing. I've been following it. And just to get, as we try to get our head around this thing, this is something the league has basically, banished him for the last 3 years. Then all of a sudden they're having a tryout or a workout for him that they invited all 32 teams to. And I'm going to read, basically they sent out a thing, and this is what it says. A private workout will be held for free agent Colin Kaepernick on Saturday in Atlanta. The session will include both on-field work and interview. All clubs are invited to attend, and video of both the workout and the interview will also be made available to all clubs. The session will be conducted by scouting personnel. Then they go on to say several clubs have inquired about Colin's current football readiness, and both Colin and his representatives have frequently expressed his desire to return to the league. Earlier this year, we discussed some possible steps with Colin's representatives, and they recently emphasized his level of preparation and that he is ready to work out for clubs and be interviewed by them. We have therefore arranged this opportunity for him to work out and for all clubs to have the opportunity to evaluate his current readiness and level of interest in resuming his NFL career. That's the state. That's what teams received right there.
That's all of it right there.
What did you think? I know you were talking to people in the league and everything yesterday too. So what did you think of all this?
Yeah. So it's one of those things that as soon as it happens, I'm like, oh man, okay, this is kind of unprecedented. But then I'm sort of starting to think layers of everything that this means. And I think in the end, it's almost masterful for the NFL in terms of optics. But I have some mixed feelings about this.
Right. Because
the way I take it is, okay, the NFL for so long has been saying there's no blackball. He's not banned.
Right.
They've said, Roger Goodell has stood up on the podium and said, if there is a team that thinks Colin Kaepernick can help their chances of winning, they are free to sign him. So the NFL now sort of re-emphasizes that by holding this workout. In effect, I think the NFL is putting that responsibility on the teams.
Yeah.
So fans, media members, everyone around that covers the NFL or just is interested in the NFL says, oh, wow, the NFL is doing something. But really, they're just sort of almost passing the buck in a way, because if the teams don't sign him, then the NFL can say, well, we held this workout, they wash their hands, and then they say, well, we tried. What else can we do? And that's sort of just the way the structure of the league is set up. The NFL can't really force teams to sign a player.
Right.
But, let's be real. Teams have known where Colin Kaepernick is.
Exactly.
It's not like he's been hiding in some foreign country or something.
Right.
If they wanted to sign him, they know who his agents are.
Uh-huh.
They could have contacted them. They could have set up workouts, interviews in their own facility before anyone else watches them.
Right.
So yeah, it looks good, but is this really going to get the end desired result?
Right.
I really doubt it.
Yeah, and the other thing is so the league says that teams have asked them about Colin's
Right.
shape and everything like that. Okay, I'm not calling the league a liar, okay? But
Right.
it's just weird to me because normally when a guy is a free agent, a general manager reaches out to his agent and says, hey, is your guy in shape? What's he doing right now?
Right.
What's he been up to? How much
Is
does
he
he
ready?
weigh? You know?
Yeah.
They ask the teams. I mean, they go to the teams ask the agent. So teams are asking the NFL, hey, is he in shape? Are they supposedly saying, hey, do we have your blessing? You know, I mean, it's I didn't understand that part because
also to that point, dude, sorry to cut you off, but like, you know how secretive NFL teams are with their personnel decisions.
right.
Why on earth would a team that's interested in signing a player contact the league like, hey, maybe we're interested in signing this player? What do you think?
Exactly.
You're right. It's odd. It's odd.
Very odd. And I think that, you're exactly right about passing the buck. Basically, the NFL can't lose in this situation right here. Basically, okay, so if a team signs him, they pat themselves on the back like, okay, look, we orchestrated this. We got the kid back into the league. Here we go. If no team doesn't, if the team, everybody passes on it, then they can say, hey, we did everything we had to do. We gave him the opportunity. And
he's washed up.
He was washed up.
Yeah.
He's not in great shape. He didn't say the right things. And what we've been saying all this time holds true. So for the league, like you said, it's pretty masterful because they can't lose here.
Yeah.
But it's still and then this morning, Ian Rappaport reports that the whole timeline of the scheduled workout, then he's going to have measurements. They're going to measure him.
Yeah.
Obviously he's going to run and, stuff like that to see how fast he is or whatever. But to measure him, I mean, like you don't know, like what you want to see if Colin Kaepernick shrank in the last 3 years or got bigger or whatever. Can he throw the football? Can he run?
I mean, this is like a scouting combine thing.
Yeah.
Like, but he ain't a rookie though. He literally has taken his team to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Like, in a way, it's almost demeaning to a player of his caliber when you think about it. I think the thing is that Kaepernick at this point, and better than anyone, he's been very selective about commenting publicly on this stuff, but he's not dumb. He knows where his standing is in terms of his physical abilities. I think he's saying, okay, if this is what it's come to, I really want to still play. This is the game I have to play, I'll play it.
Yeah.
But deep down inside, I imagine that he has to be thinking like, WTF, man. Yeah. Like, what do I have to do to get a job here?
Yeah, he has to go. He can't not go. Right. As silly as the whole setup is, he has to go because if he doesn't go, then they can easily say, boom, up. He didn't want it. And he can't go in there with an attitude saying, hey, I'm above that. I'm not doing measurements. I'm not running, because it's a test to see about his willingness and eagerness to want to play. That line was in there.
Yeah.
So he's got to say and do everything the right way, even though inside he's got to be, are you kidding me? Like it, Yeah.
The other thing,
he's in a tough spot.
The other thing I think we have to talk about is the timing of all of this, because it's starting to come out that, and Kaepernick even tweeted this, that they told him it's Saturday, and that's basically, this is the time we have. It's in the Atlanta Falcons facility. But Saturday is before Sunday.
Yeah.
And all head coaches, all general managers on Saturday are typically headed to the venue of which they're playing. So
and their pro scouts are at the venues of where they're going to be scouting. They're advanced scouts.
So teams, the teams that I've checked in with here and there, they didn't know this was coming necessarily. So as you know, teams have their scouts. They already have that travel booked. They say, hey, we have the Chiefs coming up in 3 weeks. You need to go to Kansas City to watch them play.
Right.
So now NFL teams that are interested in doing this, they need to sort of scramble around, figure out their schedule, make adjustments, and send these guys on to Atlanta on Saturday. But again, these are pro scouts, more or less, the scouts that are going to be there.
Right.
I imagine that some teams maybe where their travel is kind of like really rigid, they might send some of the college guys just to have people present. I mean, well, it's also on Saturday, so that's the thing. I mean, maybe if you have a guy who is covering a game, a Friday night game, or a Thursday night game, we'll have to be flexible. But those dudes just don't have the kind of decision-making prowess that coaches and general managers do. And by and large, I would be surprised. I would be stunned, really, unless haven't looked at the schedule, but unless your team is playing in that general region, I don't think there's any way that a major decision maker is at that workout, right?
I guess if you are one of those teams that supposedly reached out to the league asking about his physical state, then you will find a way to get there. I mean, it's not like it costs them money. I mean, like, look, the franchises have money that they can do that. It's just weird, the timing of it. Tuesdays are normally workout days.
For sure.
You know, every Tuesday at every single facility around the NFL is when guys doing that. You could have done this thing on a Tuesday. You could have done it on a Wednesday for a GM to get there, whatever. But yes, it's great that the league is trying to create this opportunity, trying to facilitate this. But there's just so much with it that is just. And I checked around and I was told that football operations did not have anything to do with the coordination of this thing.
Interesting.
So I really want to know, was this Jay-Z saying, yo, Roger, let's go, like, give Cap a workout? Was this part of the settlement?
Man, I don't know, because Jay-Z and Colin aren't, they're not, I don't think they're seeing eye to eye on a lot of this stuff.
Well, I don't think so, but if Jay-Z really, truly, he's gotten a lot of criticism about this thing.
Right.
Is he nudging Roger saying, hey, I know the guy don't like me. You know, they're all looking at me to see what I'm going to do, but here we go. This is a way you can try to – I don't know. I really want to know who –
Let me say this. If Jay-Z was involved, I think he would say that he was involved. Like, we would know that Jay-Z was involved. You know, the fact that it hasn't come out necessarily where this came from, I would suspect that this is more the league really trying to say, hey, guys, we're trying. Like, we're doing what we can.
But who nudged them in this direction? That's the thing. Why are they nudging them now? And why didn't they nudge them in this direction during the offseason? You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
3 years ago or even just this year, like in the offseason before teams went to training camp. Why are they waiting till, what are we, week 11? You know?
Yeah.
I know there's quarterback holes and everything, but there were quarterback holes in training camp.
Man, there were quarterback holes. Yeah, you're right. Back in training camp. Yes. And look, we've seen how valuable a good backup is. Look at Teddy and the Saints. I mean, look at Jacoby Brissett with what happened in Indianapolis.
Right.
Like, you don't have Jacoby there, then Indianapolis this season falls apart. And then on the flip side, well, Brian Hoyer comes in, and now, like, whoops, we lose to the Dolphins. But, you know, he deserves a job. You know, frankly, I think when you look at some of the starting quarterbacks, he should be starting in some places.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But I think the big question here, and this is what I want to ask you, is, okay, so there's this workout on Saturday, whether, you know, the intentions, whatever the case is, you know, that can be debated. Does this end up with Colin Kaepernick getting signed?
I don't think he gets signed this weekend. I guess that there is a chance that we could see him called in for a follow-up workout or a follow-up visit at a team facility. If that happens, I'm like, okay, this is legit. I mean, would it be crazy to think that the league would nudge some team like that really has a quarterback hole? But then the thing is, for Colin, you don't want to just sign with just any old team.
Yeah.
You don't want to sign with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Okay, but you will sign with Chicago.
Right.
You know?
No, there are places where he would be a nice fit.
Right, but the league can't just be like, hey, all right, Cincinnati, y'all suck, you know, or Chargers, you know, whatever. Go sign, because he doesn't want to go to a bad situation, because then he's not going to have a chance to succeed, because that's what happened in San Francisco the last year. He put up, you know, I mean, he put up okay numbers. But they did not win games.
Yeah.
So he's got to be selective. But I think that I wouldn't be surprised if they come out of this with a follow-up interview. I don't know if he's going to get signed, though.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it happening at all. I think maybe, granted, I think the groupthink and, like, the fact that, okay, there's more movement, that's certainly a positive. But again, I go back to it, like, it's not like Colin's been, like, traveling the world. Dude's been in New York. He's been telling teams he's ready. His agents have been telling teams they're ready. Like, he's been working out every day. You know, he hasn't been hiding. They've been in the open about what they want to do. The three questions, I think, financially, because they're probably going to say, well, Colin's been out of the league for what, 3 years now,
Yeah.
or whatever it's been, 2.5 years, whatever. Should we pay him top dollar? Of course, they're not going to offer him top dollar.
There's going to be a league minimum. Maybe they'll pay like $1 million plus a signing bonus or incentives or something like that.
Right. So if a team were to make an offer, I mean, the dude still wants to, no matter what industry you're in, you need to fight for what you think you're worth on the open market. And granted, he hasn't been signed, but I think we all know it's been for other reasons. So the financials, if this was going to happen, the financials really need to make sense in a lot of ways. Number two, it's fit. You look at Lamar Jackson, and I'm not saying that they're the same quarterback, but Lamar Jackson is tearing the league up because he has an offensive coordinator like Greg Roman. And Greg Roman actually was Colin Kaepernick's offensive coordinator way back when. But let's play this hypothetical game where teams are magically interested. I think Cap would need to go to a system where the coaches say, okay, here's what you can do well. Let's highlight that and do whatever we can to make you shine. Because otherwise, it's going to be a mess. And the worst thing that could happen for Colin Kaepernick is what you said. He goes to the Bengals, he goes wherever, and then he just does not shine. That's a big thing. And then the third is locker room culture, whatever. I think we can talk about this literally for hours, but look at Eric Reid. Eric Reid was more or less championing the same things that Colin Kaepernick was fighting for. He signs in Charlotte, which is not the most liberal city, not the most liberal organization, and they're playing well. The guys in the locker room love him. He's been a model citizen. We always talk about locker room culture and how fragile it is. Really, at the end of the day, as long as you're not an ass and as long as you work and do what you can and you get along marginally well with your teammates, the rest of the dudes are going to be fine with you. Yeah. They just want to know that when you go on the field, you fight your ass off and do what you can to win. So those are the three questions that I think will need to be answered in terms of him potentially being signed. But again.
And I think that if he does sign somewhere, it's going to be because an owner finally relents, and maybe the coach had already said, like, we should have him in for a workout and got turned down multiple times. And I know that the locker room's going to be fine. Guys, I mean, we talk to guys over and over and over. Guys know he's been blackballed. Guys got no problem with Cap.
And they respect the hell out of him.
Yeah.
They do.
And there have been guys who tried to reach out to him and Cap, like, maintain a low profile. And so guys like kind of looked at him sideways, wondering, okay, do you really want to be? But there's nobody that is like talked negatively of him. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. But again, where he goes and fit, and is he really going to be set up to succeed? And I think he's smart enough that he's not going to just sign anywhere because he knows. But again, that's a big if. We'll see. Again, I think we could go on this for hours and hours. Yeah. We should probably already just block it out. We're going to have a follow-up episode.
Let's do it.
When he's signed.
After that introduction you gave me, I want to be back on the show for all the time. So.
Oh, for sure. Hey, for sure. We're going to do this again. So, hey, man, I really appreciate your time. Tell everybody where they can find you.
For sure, man. I'm at Lorenzo G Reyes on Twitter.
And you still won't tell me what the G stands for.
Nah, man, that's a secret. That's going with me. There are very few people in my life who know that. My wife found out maybe like 3 years after we started dating. So,
man.
So right. you got some time before I let you in on that one.
All right, and at usatoday.com, of course. Right. But, all right, thanks everybody for listening. And hope you have a great day. We'll come to you again next week for another episode of the Football Jones Podcast.